Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Saturday the 25th. And today, Mars in Scorpio is going to be at the top of a yawn, and it forms today. And this yawn it's so funny because once the mutable T-square breaks up, then we get this beautiful blessing from the universe that says to us, here is what I was hoping that you pulled out from that, and here is the answer to your question. I'm going to give it to you. Now you've got to decipher it and figure it out and see how it applies to you, and see if you can see it at this time. See, when we're evolving, when we're in energy that wakens us up, one of the things that's very difficult is to acknowledge the reality of our situation. And I think that's what that whole entire cycle was about, was getting us to understand our situation on a very real level. When we had all that energy that was in Gemini, what it was really asking us to is to really attach to our realities and to avoid places where we may have idealized in the past, but they just no longer serve us. It's not relevant now. What happened to the past was what is going to provide us with the wisdom to move forward and not make those same mistakes. But in the same sense, it's like we have to have respect and compassion for the time and this energy of letting go. I think some of us may have not been able to let go before now. And moving forward is a scary energy. We have to be very loving and generous and compassionate for ourselves right now. There is energy building, and the energy is building toward Chiron going retrograde, and that is also a very revealing process because Chiron is where we have our deepest wounds and where we've suffered a tremendous life lesson, and where we will continue to always have a soft spot in our lives. And I think one of the things that's very valuable, I think at this time, is for us to really be deeply connect with the fact that we're humans. We make mistakes. We do things wrong, right? Every cold-hearted, selfish person out there is on their own journey. And even if we've been hurt, and even if we've been scarred and devastated by the actions of someone else in a very self-oriented fashion, what you have to understand is that they're deeply identifying their own journey, and they're deeply identifying their wounds, and what's being revealed to them in their narcissistic minds is the fact that the reason why they've become so hardened, and the reason why they've become who they are, and they've turned in and they shut the world out, is because they were so deeply impacted by either the way they grew up or by a narcissist themselves, or it was a defense mechanism. So what we're trying to do, guys, is to release the darkness and the negative energy that no longer serves us. And we can't get caught up in other people's journeys right now. We really have to take a look at ourselves. So the yawn emphasizes your journey with it. How do you feel? What's intensified in your life? What are you being compelled to take a look at? And we're talking what's brewing deep here with this yawn. And then, what are the conversations? What are the mindsets? What are the perspectives that need to change? What do you need to do to deal with this energy at this level? And, I think what this is really compelling you to do is to get almost a little bit, not self-oriented, because it's also a very open and compassionate time and a loving time of acceptance for all people. What we need to do is accept others as just who they are, raw, real, vulnerabilities, strengths, weaknesses. We've got to see them. And if we can't deal with where they're at because it impacts us on a very deep level, and we need to walk away from seeing or being around that type of environment to nurture our own positive energy, that's okay. That doesn't mean that we're self-oriented or that somebody who has left you is self-oriented. It means that your journey is now splitting. That karmic lesson is now being learned. It's now part of the past. And what is definitely part of the future is something else. Something that's, that's progressive. Something that's somebody else, or maybe a whole nother state. Maybe if you stayed with that person, you would never, move to a different state and find your true home, your true, always destined home. I mean, this energy is all about home and setting up home and really feeling nurtured and loved and wanted and feeling very rich and comforted and developing a sense of security. And for some of us, we have to do that in a lone wolf type of a way because we have been caught in patterns that we cannot, that are not positive. Also, hey baby, what's the matter? Did you get stung? Come here. What happened? What happened, my love? Aw, you're wet. So I think what's really important, you guys, to understand is that there is going to be a level of discomfort when you're in this journey, this part of the journey. These next couple weeks are going to be, I think, a little bit of an intense time for us as we're becoming very real about our vulnerabilities. And we're diving so deep that what's being unearthed may be even frightening for ourselves to face, because we don't want to think about limitations. We want this total unrealistic mindset of like we're on top of the world and that we've got it all figured out, and it's a very superficial level to the human experience. The human experience is about unearthing our potential, our deep potential, our spiritual potential, our compassion, our love, our willing to forgive others and forget, and to move forward and to develop a new positive mindset, separate from the old sense of self, and really invigorate the new sense of self, and really start building brand new connections with those that deserve your company and your love and your dedication and your time. For those of you that suffer through this process, and I believe there will be many, and I believe that this is going to be a very hypersensitive time. I'm very nervous at the amount of volatility that I see coming forth from some of this energy, because some people, when they're hurting, they act like they just become very narcissistic and very self-absorbed, and they become takers because they are so lost in what it's like to have the experience that they need. And it's just, there's a lot of energy coming. It's beautiful, but very scary at the same time, and it has the possibility to be incredibly volatile and incredibly scary for those of you that are going to mentally become so oversensitive to your situation that you actually experience some mental instability at this time. I can tell you this, and I went through this process myself. I kind of had to have a little mental breakdown for me to understand that there is a limitation to what I can and can't do, and there's a balance that must be attained in energy, both positive and negative. And if you do not have respect for that, then it is a very, very tumultuous time right now, learning that very difficult fine line between sanity and insanity. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again tomorrow. So stunning out here. So, you see that cliff over there? Me and my kids dove off that all the time. It's usually packed here because it's really super deep, and so a lot of people cliff dive here. This is a great cliff diving spot. I've cliff dived off that little part right over there too. This water is mountain runoff, and so it is effing cold. Like, you would die of hypothermia, you stay in there too long.